Alright, so this unit is about lines. The first thing we're going to look at is when you are given the slope of a line and also the y-intercept of the line. So we use the slope-intercept form, which is this, y equals, and there's two numbers you're going to fill in. The m, where m is the slope, okay, and then b, where b is the y-intercept. What I want you to see is the slope is multiplied to the x. That's what makes it, either go up as a slant or come down, straight lines, the way the line is formed. And b just moves it up and down, so it makes it cross the y-intercept. So whenever we want to write it in slope-intercept form, we're going to start by just writing y equals mx plus b. They tell us that m is equal to -2, so you're going to put y equals -2x plus 3. Just fill them in. That's it. Now you were able to write it in slope-intercept form. Also, this is another way to write the slope. They just tell you that the slope is 1. The y-intercept is 0, 4. Y-intercept always is when your x value, because remember this is your x and this is your y, when your x value is always 0. So, which means that you're going to put y equals slope times x, so 1 times x plus b. The y-intercept is 4. To clean this up a bit, we're just going to put y equals x plus 4. That's it. Here's a word problem. So again, here, you know that you're trying to find the slope times x and then the constant. I always think of the constant as maybe the starting point, okay? This is the starting point. So then what is this? So they have two numbers here. One is the slope, one is the starting point, the y-intercept. So an airplane is 30,000 feet above the ground, begins to descend at a rate, so whenever it says rate, you know that that's indication that it is the slope, 2,000 feet per minute. So my slope here is 2,000, while my y-intercept here is 30,000. I have everything to write it in slope-intercept form. So you have y equals 2,000x plus 30,000. Okay. And then here, again, just another example. Slope is 1/4 x, 1/4, so that's 1/4 x plus b, which is plus 0. B is 0. To clean this up a bit, I'm just going to put 1/4x, and then you don't need to write the 0. That's it. Now, what about when you're given a graph? Here, you're given the slope and y-intercept. We just plugged it in. When you're given the graph, we want to find what the slope is, and we also want to find what the y-intercept is for each graph. The y-intercept is pretty easy. Where does it cross the y-axis? It's at -3 here, so that's it. How do I do the slope? A slope is rise over run. So your rise is 1, 2, 3, 4. Run is 1, 2. 4/2. This can be reduced to 4 divided by 2 is just 2. So now I can write my slope-intercept form. Y equals 2x minus 3. And that's it. Let's see here. What is the slope and what is the y-intercept? Well, y-intercept is -3 again. And then what's the slope? It's rise over run. Here, its rise is at 1, 2, 2. And the run is at 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is actually at -2 because it's going down. So it's -2 over run, which is 4. And that reduces down to -1/2. You can put it in decimals as well to see. I don't know why I rewrote that. No reason. All right, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish writing this as negative 1/2 x minus 3. That's it. All right, last example. Let's find the slope and let's find the y-intercept. Y-intercept is at -6. And then the slope is rise over run. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it's not really going through there, is it? Let me just pick 2 points on here. I'll go ahead and pick this point and then see, and then this point is a good point right here. So rise is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's up 5, so that's positive 5 over 1, 2. 5 over 2. So to finish writing it in slope-intercept form is y equals 5 over 2x minus 6. That's about it. All right, 2 more examples, 2 more types of problems we'll see with slope and intercept. Let me fix my camera real quick. What about if you're given multiple points and the y-intercept included? So how do you know which is the y-intercept? Well, remember that the y-intercept is where your x is 0. Okay? So where is your x 0? Right here. This is my y-intercept. My y-intercept is at -2. That's all there is to that. Then what do I do about the slope? Well, there's many different ways you can find slope. You can use a slope formula. You can, a bunch of different things. But I like to do this. I like to know that the slope is equal to the change in y divided by the change in x. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the change in y. In the y column, you can pick any 2 numbers. So how about, I'll just pick these 2. So you can just do the change in y, so -5 minus 4. Okay? -5 minus -4, sorry. Minus -4. Or you can see that it just dropped 1, right? It just went down, or sorry, it went up 1. So 1 over change in x. So it went up 1 as well, actually up 2. -4 minus -4 is equal to -2. Okay? That's actually going to be -1. It went down 1. So, here, let me start over with this. I think I messed up too many times. It's best to just start over. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to go find two coordinates. It can be any 2. I'll just go ahead and box these numbers right here. Okay, I'll just use those. It doesn't matter which one. So you're going to do 4 minus 6 over, sorry, the y first. 0 minus 1 over 4 minus 6. So 0 minus 1 is -1. 4 minus 6 is -2. So that means that the slope is equal to negative, positive. 1 over 2 is just 1 over 2. So now I have y equals 1 over 2, x, b is, or the y-intercept is, -2. All right, on this one, here, the y-intercept is not given, so what do I do if the y-intercept is not given, or how do I know if the y-intercept is not given? Well, y-intercept is when your x is equal to 0, okay? So there's no value here where your x is equal to 0, so it's hard to tell. There is a way to do this, but maybe I'll hold off on this example. I'll come back to that. Okay, look here. This one, here's your y-intercept. So I don't know what slope is yet, but I do know that my y-intercept is at 5 because that's where your x is equal to 0. And then to find the slope, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my y values, separate them. So negative 7 minus 5 over 2 minus 0. So that's negative 12 over 2 minus 0 is just 2. So that's equal to negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. So my slope is at negative 6. All right, so that's then going to end up being y equals negative 6x plus 5. All right, and the last example here is this. So your x here is 0, and your y here is negative 7. That tells me that my y-intercept is negative 7. And then what is my slope? Well, I'm going to do the change in y. So I'm going to do negative 7 minus 1 over change in x, 0 minus 3. So that is negative 8 over negative 3. Negative negative is a positive, so 8 over 3. That is my slope. So you have y equals 8 over 3x minus 7. That is my slope-intercept form. All right, so back to this problem right here. We'll see some of these problems a little later, but I'll go ahead and show you this quickly. So how do I write the slope-intercept form for this? So let me start by writing y equals mx plus b. I know what the slope is. I know that the slope is change in y, so 5 minus 7, over change in x, 1 minus 2. So here, let's do this a little easier. Let's go ahead and take the help of the Desmos. So here, I'm going to go ahead and put the slope in, change in y, so 5 minus 7. You can pick any of the points, really, over 1 minus 2, which is equal to 2. There's your slope. So I know that I have my slope here is 2. I don't know what my y-intercept is, but I do know that I know an x and a y. I can choose any one of these pairs to plug it in here and then solve for y. I'll just choose the first one. So y is equal to 5. Slope is equal to 2 times x, which is 1. You have to keep the same pair. I can't just use this 5 and then this 2. I have to use the ordered pairs. That's a multiply, times 1 plus b. So 2 times 1 is 2. Subtract 2, so that's 3 equals b. There you go. I have my slope-intercept. I have my slope and my intercept. So y equals 2x plus 3. Okay. All right, and then the last part here is writing equations of horizontal lines and vertical lines. Horizontal lines are lines that go sideways. So something you need to know about the horizontal lines are the horizontal lines have a 0 slope, so m equals 0, and then they cross the y-axis. Vertical lines are undefined slope, and they cross the x-axis. Okay, so what that means is for horizontal lines, it's just going to be y equals. For vertical lines, it's going to be x equals. That's it. So you just need to figure out which one are you going to use? Are you going to use y equals or x equals? Anyway, let's look at this one. So here the slope is 0, which means that it has to be a horizontal line. So you're going to use y equals, and the only value it's going to always cross is -2. So y equals -2, and that's it. Here, the slope is 3 minus, it's just going to end up being undefined. Let me show you. So I'll just use two of the numbers. I'll do -1 minus 0 over 3 minus 3. So that is going to be -1 over 3 minus 3 is undefined. So this slope here is undefined. If it's an undefined slope, then it's going to be x equals what? Well, you see that x is always equal to 3, so it has to be x equals 3. And then this is a vertical line, so which means it's x equals, where does it cross the x-axis? At 5, and that's it. This is y equals, because it's crossing the y-axis, at -4, and that's it. This next page has practice for you, so you can go ahead and practice the next, just this page right here. Okay, write the equation of a line, this page. All right, thanks guys.